In this example, we're going to look at the order of operations when adding and subtracting decimals. So let's refer back to a few rules that we used for integers. So when we need to add or subtract 2 or more times in one problem, we will perform the operations from left to right. Rule 2. We can rewrite any subtraction as addition of the opposite of the number that is subtracted. If we do this first, we can add the numbers in any order we want. So in general, these two rules are telling us that if you have addition and subtraction in a problem, you perform the operations from left to right. If you want to bypass that rule or readjust your problem so you don't have to use that rule, if you can rewrite any subtraction as addition, remember that addition is both commutative and associative, so that means that we can rearrange the numbers in any way we want. And we'll see that that can simplify our computations. So let's look at a couple of problems. Perform the indicated decimal operations. So notice what makes this an order of operations problem, as opposed to just performing an operation, is there's two operations in one problem. So it's good to start by realizing how many operations you have to do. So I like to highlight them, and I'm going to write 2 operations. Okay. So now I'm going to start, we have addition and subtraction. I notice this is subtraction of a negative, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this subtraction as addition. So negative 0.7 plus negative 0.14 plus, subtracting a negative is the same as adding the positive, and for the positive we usually just leave out the positive sign, and this is a plus sign referring to addition, not positive, although this number is positive. So let's work from left to right. So we could add these in any order that we wanted. I could add these two first. The reason that I'm choosing, just to give you some ideas, because you can add them in any order that you want now that they're both addition, is since these are both negative, I can just add these together and keep the negative sign. Then I can add the resulting ones. Will have a negative and a positive, and then I'll have to subtract. So in general, addition is easier. I mean, it's not that much harder to subtract, but I try to add instead of subtract if I have a choice. So first, notice that both of these numbers are negative, so I'm going to call this, let's side work over here. They're both negative, so I'm going to add their absolute values, and 0.14. Let's put in a 0 placeholder, and we have 4, 8, 0.84. Since they were both negative, that means my answer is negative. So I'm going to replace the sum of these two numbers with this answer 0.84. Negative, excuse me, 0.84 plus 0.26. Now we have one operation left. So we need to add these two numbers. I'm noticing this is negative and this is positive, so that means I'm going to need to subtract. I'm going to subtract, looking at the absolute value, so basically I'm ignoring that negative sign, and 0.84 is larger than 0.26 since it has 8 in the tens place and this has 2 in the tens place. So I'm going to take 0.84 and subtract 0.26. Cancel the 8 because I need to borrow. 14 minus 6 is 8, 7 minus 2 is 5, and I get 0.58. Now notice the larger number was 0.84 and it was negative, so our final answer is negative 0.58. Let's look at the next one. So here we have, here's subtraction, that's a negative sign. Here's subtraction, and here's addition, and that's a negative sign. So we have 3 operations to perform. So I'm going to rewrite this in terms of addition, and then I can add in any way I want. Okay. So 4.2, let's change this to addition of a positive number, so plus 2.7. Okay. This is subtracting a positive number. I'm going to rewrite it as plus negative 0.3, and then we have plus negative 0.6. Now again, minus 0.3, that's not too difficult. I like to change them to addition because now I have the opportunity to add in any order I want to. Now here's what I'm thinking, and again you can add from left to right. You could add these two first, whichever ones you want to add first. And in different situations it might be easier to add different ones first. What I'm thinking when I see this is I want to add these two numbers together and these two numbers together. This will give me a positive, this will give me a negative, and then I can just subtract the results. So that's a little bit easier for me, but again, any order you want. So first let's add, these two are positive. Let's do this work over here. 4.2 plus 2.7, 9. Put down the decimal, and 6. So this result is 6.9. Now I'm going to add these two. Let's change colors. And the reason I want to add these two next rather than, again, adding this and this is because these are both negative. So I can add their, I can add their absolute values. 0.3 plus 0.6 is 0.9. 3 plus 6 is 9, decimal and the zeros. And since they're both negative, the answer is negative. So I have plus negative 0.9. So now those two computations were pretty easy. I haven't had to subtract yet. And here I will have to subtract because we have a positive and a negative. So the larger of these two numbers, 6.9, and the absolute value of this is 0.9. So this is clearly greater. So I'm going to take 6.9 and subtract 0.9. And again, I need to subtract because one is positive and one is negative. 9 minus 9 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. And our answer is 6.0, or just 6. And notice the answer is positive because the larger number was 6.9 and it was positive.